If you've been watching my videos for a while, then you know that dumb is one of my favorite words. Out of all the meanings it has, one is my favorite. It's when it means something really over the top. Something so dumb you can't help but love it. There are many prototype tanks that fit that description, and you know I love ridiculous prototypes. So, we'll be talking about some that should be added to War Thunder. I'm gonna go ahead and start with my favorite, which may or may not be the thumbnail for this video. I haven't decided yet. It is the Combined Arms Team Lightweight Combat Vehicle. Quite a long name, isn't it? It's abbreviated as CAT-LCV, which is a bit catchier. As you can see, it uses the XM274 cannon, which as you should know by now, is an incredibly cool gun. The LCV is based on the Rapid Deployment Force Light Tank, or RDF-LT, which is basically a production-improved HSTVL. It has more ammo, range, part commonality, and less cost. On the LCV, they basically got rid of the gunner, put the commander in the hull, made the turret extremely low profile, and threw some stingers on for good measure. It was made to arm a new Rapid Deployment Task Force, one that would protect American interests in the Middle East and Southwest Asia. The RDF was supposed to be both anti-tank and anti-air, since the gun was multi-purpose. AAI Corporation, the company that made the RDF, said we'll do you one better, and put 2 Stinger pods in the thing. It likely never left the mock-up stage, but the hull was entirely functional, all of the components existed and worked, and all the specifications were laid out. Essentially, it'd be an HSTVL that is slower, has more ammo, has proxy HE, has less survivability, and gets anti-air missiles, though they would only be useful against helicopters. It didn't have a search radar, but it would have auto-track. I've already spent too much time on this, so if you want to learn more about it, I made a thread for it on the forums. Moving on, French tanks don't get as much love as they should, so let's talk about the ELC Even 30. In the late 1950s, France was looking for cheap but effective ways to countermass Soviet armor. Heavier alternatives like the AMX-50 simply weren't practical, so they started developing a series of light tank destroyers. They would be designated Light Combat Vehicle, initialized as ELC. Most were supposed to take out IS-3s and the like, so they used conventional weapons, namely recoilless rifles. One variant, however, had 2 30mm anti-aircraft guns. It was supposed to engage light vehicles and infantry. The guns were HS-825s, the same ones used by the Sagittario. Based on that, you can expect around 90mm of penetration. It had 340 rounds in total, but divided into clips. It wouldn't be very effective against aircraft, since max elevation was quite bad. It was an oscillating turret after all. Regardless, it could be put in the anti-air line. It might have trouble with some threats, but it would be very fast and low profile. Cross a Scorpion and a Kugelblitz. That's the Even 30. Next, let's talk about a Soviet tank, since they had a lot of out there designs. This is Object 287, which was supposed to be a tank destroyer. Because of delays with the IT-1, the Kirov tank plant decided to make their own missile carrier. This kind of thing happened a lot in Soviet tank design. Anyway, based on the chassis of the T-64, it had an elevating missile platform. It also had 2 smoothbore guns, similar to the one used on the BMP. Since ATGMs were so expensive, you wouldn't want to waste them on light targets, so you would use the auxiliary guns to engage those. At first it had 2 autocannons, but those were apparently too weak. Each gun also had a coax machine gun. The turret was unmanned, and very low profile. It only had a crew of 2, a driver and a commander/gunner. Weighing around 36 tons, it was driven by a 700 horsepower diesel engine. While it did have some promising attributes, there were more negatives. In September of 1963, the project was officially canned. And finally, let's end with an older vehicle, the M4A3 CEV, or Combat Engineering Vehicle. Its name isn't very descriptive, but I'm honestly not sure what else to call it. As you can see, this M4 had a lot of rockets, and a dozer blade to boot. In the European theater, it was found that rocket racks were vulnerable to machine gun fire. To solve this problem, they made a rocket launcher that replaced the main gun. But in a very baffling move, they decided to re-add the roof-mounted rocket racks, while keeping the main gun launcher, entirely negating the protection benefits offered by the latter. Both launchers fired T-32 rockets. Each rocket had 32 pounds of Comp C. To put that into perspective, a KB-2's HE shell is half as powerful. The CEV carried a total of 30 of these, 20 for the launcher and 10 in the rack. The biggest drawback is that the rockets are abysmally slow, 48 meters per second. This also limits the range quite a bit, so it'd be a monster in CQC, but useless on wide open maps. If you want to read up on this one, I have a thread for it as well. Yes, this video was basically a plug for my threads. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.